Central Post has learned that leaders of the Alberta Prosperity Project just made a second visit to Washington, D.C., where they're speaking with unnamed American officials about potential plans for Alberta to separate from Canada. This question is for the Premier. Are you uncomfortable at all with essentially unelected private individuals having these sorts of discussions in Washington, D.C.? And does the APP at all reflect a substantial portion of the UCP's membership base?
Well, I can tell you, we've done 10 Alberta Next panel discussions. We've had online surveys, and I've been clear through all of it. My objective is to have a strong and sovereign Alberta within a united Canada. That's what I've been working with the federal government under its new leadership to try to get a grand bargain, as I've been calling it, to get a new bitumen pipeline to the coast, the Pathways Project, and address the 9 bad laws. That's what I feel my responsibility is to try to make sure that Alberta has a new and renewed relationship with Ottawa. As well, that's part of what the Alberta Next panel discussion is about, is to identify the ways in which we may take on more of the responsibilities as we become stronger as an economy and have a stronger population. So you'll have to talk to that group about what their intentions are, but we've gone in a different direction.
I thought that was probably the best answer that she could have given. Like, what do you want me to tell you about what the APP is doing in Washington? Why don't you ask the APP? And I think as a premier, naturally she's a federalist, but you also, she has said that she's not going to get in the way of the democratic will of the people. Perfect. Isn't that what we want? Let's go to Keith and then Stockwell.
Well, I think there's a little bit of burying the lead there, in that what is significant here, and let's just step back for a minute. Canada, as I've spoken about many times, is a very unique country in the democratic world, in that we have our Supreme Court of Canada having laid out a legal pathway for a province to secede, to leave, to become independent. In almost every other country, just me even talking about this, you having this program raising it would be a jailable offense, okay? So Canada is unique. Canada is also unique in that we are the biggest and most important neighbor to the largest economy and the most powerful country in the world, and our best trading partner, a relation that's souring. And so, and another data point, geopolitical situation, the tragedy and the ongoing difficulties of the Middle East, and how Carney, with a minority government, without the blessing of the House of Commons, announced unilateral recognition of the state of Palestine. Mm-hmm. That opens the door for Donald Trump and his administration to acknowledge the independent state country of Alberta if there's a referendum. So the fact that there's such receptiveness by the Americans to have these discussions with Albertans who are committed to independence is profoundly significant, and something that Carney and the Liberals should be taking extremely seriously. They're probably not, I don't know. But to me, that's what's significant here, is the receptiveness and, the advantages for the Americans. I don't think they, particularly the Republican administration, has a lot of love for the Liberals and their policies of the last 10 years. And they're ideologically more aligned with the approach of many Albertans to free trade, property rights, free expression, liberty, and those kinds of concepts. So we're in interesting times. That would be my comment on that.
Hey, Toronto Rebel News fans, listen up. Rebel News is celebrating 10 years of fearless journalism with our 10th birthday bash, and you're invited to join us. Last week, hundreds of Rebel fans packed our Calgary party for an unforgettable night of music, food, and fun. Now it's Toronto's turn. Join us on Thursday, October 16th at 6 p.m. near Black Creek and Lawrence for a night you will not forget. Expect a lively evening with Rebel News journalists and crew. past and present, cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, and of course, a birthday cake.
I think the premier is doing a good job of threading the needle, because I know she realizes that the APP supporters and UCP voters, the Venn diagram, as they say, is a circle there. I believe.
Before Stockwell comments, maybe if I could just comment
please,
on that
sure.
specific point. I've known Premier Smith for almost 30 years. I met her first when she was the executive director of the Property Rights Institute in Alberta when she'd just gotten out of university, and I've known her well since. And so, and I don't have private discussions with her about this, and if I did, I certainly wouldn't share them publicly. But I think what she's doing is she recognizes that most Albertans right now would not support independence, and that she needs to do absolutely everything in her power possible to try and reset the relationship with Ottawa structurally, policy-wise, to allow Albertans to achieve their potential and prosperity and so on in the next generation. And she needs to go through every one of those steps, because if it's the case that Ottawa's not prepared to change and want to keep putting its knee on our neck, more and more Albertans need to see that. They need to know that every avenue was exhausted before they're going to be prepared to vote in favor of a referendum. So I think it's an important process that we're on.
Stockwell?
Yeah, I would echo that. Recent polls, Angus Reid, most recent one, I believe, put the question on separation to, when it was put to Albertans, at leaning towards, considering that would be about 36%. And among the United Conservative members, it's about 60%. So she's getting a lot of push from her own party there. She's also being realistic, and I've also had the honor of knowing her for many years, about the fact that, and I've said this to a number of occasions, and to my friend Dr. Dennis Modry just a few days ago, I have to say, I'm just being coldly pragmatic here. If I was a Las Vegas bookmaker, I would say the vote will not carry. You will not get over 50%. And I say to those people on the Prosperity Project, you know, good for them. They're out there pursuing what they need to do. Keep that in mind. But they're going to keep pressing on. And so it's good for the Premier to be reminding Prime Minister Carney that you can't take this for granted. If Carney's just looking at the polls and saying, you know what, we're good, 30% are upset, that makes us happy, then you're going to be in trouble, because Jean Chrétien took that position in 1995. He said this was no big problem and almost lost the country by 0.5%. I mean, let that sink in. In Quebec, it didn't carry. And so I don't think it will in Alberta, but it will be close. And I'm going to be, you know, just pragmatic again on this thing. Do all we can, and she's doing all she can to influence the federal government. And now I'm going to sound just, brutally political. Without a federal Conservative Party, these things are just not going to get addressed. They simply are not. And I do think that when it really sinks in Ontario, which General Motors just announced, never mind Exxon, that's bad enough, that they're leaving Oshawa, they're going to Indiana. And it's because of the economy. Bill Clinton said it decades ago, before some of you on this panel were even born. It's about the economy, stupid. The numbers are going down as the Liberals' spending keeps going up, and as they continue to come out with more regulations. Every time there's another problem, they announce a new agency. Housing's a problem? Let's build a new agency. Projects not going fast enough? Let's not look at how you reduce regulations. Let's build a new agency. The economics are going to catch them. I do believe that. And I think you're right. Threading the needle could be the word for Premier Smith, but she's fighting aggressively for Alberta. There's no question about that.
By connecting businesses with qualified candidates, Workforce Alberta helps employers change their story.